What happens when Hollywood royalty meets daytime television's most controversial host? You won't believe what unfolds when three-time Oscar winner Meryl Streep sits down with Joy Behar on The View, only to face the most shocking ambush interview in recent television history. This isn't just another celebrity chat. This is a masterclass in how a legendary actress handles disrespect, and trust me, you've never seen Meryl Streep like this before. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below because you're not going to believe what unfolds when one of America's most beloved actresses finally reaches her breaking point on live television. Last night's episode of The View was supposed to be a celebration. Meryl Streep, fresh off her latest critically acclaimed performance, was scheduled to discuss her new film and perhaps share some behind-the-scenes stories that fans love to hear. What viewers got instead was a train wreck that nobody saw coming, least of all the unsuspecting audience who tuned in expecting their usual dose of celebrity charm and witty banter. From the moment Meryl walked onto that familiar set, something felt different. The atmosphere was charged with an unusual tension that even the studio audience seemed to pick up on. Joy Behar, known for her sharp tongue and controversial takes, had that look in her eyes, the one that regular viewers have come to recognize as trouble brewing. Well, Joy began with her signature smirk as Meryl settled into the guest chair. Look who decided to grace us with her presence, the Queen of Hollywood herself. The comment, delivered with just enough sarcasm to make everyone uncomfortable, should have been the first red flag that this wasn't going to be the typical promotional interview. Meryl, ever the professional, maintained her composure with a polite smile. Thank you for having me, Joy. It's always interesting to be here. The pause before interesting was subtle but telling, a seasoned performer choosing her words carefully while already sensing the hostile territory she'd entered. What happened next caught everyone off guard, including the other co-hosts who exchanged worried glances as Joy launched into what can only be described as an unprovoked attack. You know, Meryl, I have to ask, and our viewers are dying to know, don't you ever get tired of playing the same character over and over again? The tortured woman, the long-suffering wife, the dramatic victim. I mean, come on, we get it. You can cry on cue. The studio fell silent. You could practically hear a pin drop as Meryl's expression shifted from polite confusion to something much more guarded. I'm sorry, Joy, but I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at. I've played a wide variety of characters throughout my career, but Joy wasn't finished. In fact, she was just getting started, and what came next would go down in television history as one of the most unprofessional moments ever captured on daytime TV. Oh, please, spare us the artistic integrity speech. We all know you've been phoning it in for years. How many times can you play the same weepy, accent-heavy performance before people catch on that it's all just manufactured emotion? The audience gasped audibly at this point, and even the cameras seemed to zoom in instinctively, capturing the exact moment when Meryl Streep's legendary composure began to crack. Her jaw tightened almost imperceptibly, and those who know the actress well could see the storm clouds gathering behind her famously expressive eyes. Joy, Meryl said, her voice dropping to that dangerous quiet tone that every great actress masters. I'm not sure what's prompting this line of questioning, but I came here in good faith to discuss my work and connect with your audience. This feels unnecessarily hostile. Rather than backing down or recognizing the warning signs, Joy doubled down with the kind of reckless abandon that has made her both famous and infamous in equal measure. Hostile? I'm just asking the questions that everyone's thinking but afraid to say. You've been coasting on your reputation for decades. When was the last time you took a real risk? When was the last time you surprised anyone? The tension in the studio was now palpable. Production assistants could be seen frantically gesturing off camera, clearly trying to signal that this interview was spiraling out of control. The other co-hosts sat frozen, unsure whether to intervene or simply bear witness to what was rapidly becoming a television disaster. Meryl's response came slowly, deliberately, each word carefully chosen and delivered with the precision that has made her one of the most respected actors of her generation. I find it fascinating, Joy, that you would question my artistic choices when you've spent your career making a living off of gossip, controversy, and tearing down people who actually create something meaningful. But please, do continue. This is quite revealing. The gloves were officially off now, and Joy, perhaps realizing she had awakened something she couldn't control, made the fatal mistake of escalating further. Oh, here we go, with the holier than thou act. You Hollywood types are all the same. You think you're above criticism because you can memorize some lines and fake cry in front of a camera. Meanwhile, those of us in real journalism are actually holding people accountable. That's when Meryl Streep did something that stunned everyone in that studio and millions of viewers watching at home. She laughed. Not a polite, diplomatic chuckle, but a genuine, full-throated laugh that somehow managed to be both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Real journalism? Meryl repeated, her voice now carrying an edge that could cut glass. Joy, you host a daytime talk show where you spend most of your time gossiping about celebrities and making inappropriate comments about their personal lives. That's not journalism. That's entertainment at its most base level. And frankly, not very entertaining entertainment at that. The audience was completely silent now, riveted by this unprecedented display of Hollywood royalty, defending herself against what had become a clearly malicious attack. Joy, perhaps realizing she had pushed too far but unable to back down without losing face, made one final, devastating mistake. Well, at least I don't hide behind characters and pretend to be someone I'm not for a living. At least I'm authentic. You wouldn't know authentic if it slapped you in your overpaid face. The moment those words left Joy's mouth, everything changed. Meryl's entire demeanor shifted, and suddenly the woman sitting in that chair wasn't the diplomatic, gracious celebrity guest anymore. This was Meryl Streep, the person, not the persona, and she was done playing nice. Authentic? Meryl's voice was now ice cold, each word delivered with surgical precision. Joy, you want to talk about authentic? Let's talk about authentic. Authentic is spending decades perfecting your craft, studying human nature, and trying to bring truth to fictional characters so that real people might see themselves reflected and feel less alone in the world. Authentic is not using a television platform to bully and belittle guests who come here in good faith. She leaned forward slightly, her eyes never leaving Joy's increasingly uncomfortable face. Authentic is not hiding behind the excuse of just asking questions, when what you're really doing is trying to tear down someone else to make yourself feel more important. Authentic is certainly not attacking someone's life's work because you're jealous that they've achieved something meaningful while you've spent your career as a professional gossip. Joy tried to interject, but Meryl was far from finished, and the full force of her legendary talent was now focused on this moment. You want to know what's not authentic, Joy? Pretending this was ever an interview when it's clear you planned this ambush from the moment I walked through that door. You want to know what's not authentic? Claiming to represent journalism while behaving like a schoolyard bully with a microphone. The studio was absolutely electric with tension now, and you could see the panic in the eyes of the production team as they realized this was spiraling completely beyond their control. The other co-hosts looked like they wanted to disappear into their chairs, and the audience sat in stunned silence, witnessing something unprecedented in daytime television history. But Meryl wasn't done delivering what would go down as one of the most devastating verbal takedowns ever captured on live television. You know what, Joy? I've spent 40 years in this business, and I've worked with some truly difficult people. Directors who scream, co-stars who throw tantrums, producers who make impossible demands. But I have never, and I mean never, encountered someone so unprofessional, so deliberately cruel, and so completely lacking in basic human decency as you've been today. Joy, now visibly shaken and clearly out of her depth, made one last desperate attempt to regain control. Now wait, just a minute, Meryl. You can't come on my show and... Your show? Meryl's interruption was swift and devastating. This stopped being your show the moment you decided to abandon any pretense of professionalism. This became a public display of your own insecurities and petty jealousies. And I will not be a prop in your pathetic attempt to feel relevant. With that, Meryl Streep did something that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and gave viewers a moment they would never forget. She stood up, looked directly into the camera, and addressed the audience with the dignity and grace that had been so notably absent from her host. To the viewers at home, I came here today hoping to share some stories about my work and maybe brighten your day a little. Instead, you've been subjected to this display of unprofessional behavior. You deserve better than this. And frankly, so do I. She turned back to Joy one final time, and her parting words were delivered with the kind of quiet intensity that only a master of her craft could achieve. Joy, I genuinely hope you find whatever it is you're looking for, because this isn't it. And I hope your audience realizes they deserve hosts who treat their guests with basic human respect. Without another word, Meryl Streep removed her microphone, placed it carefully on the table, and walked off the set with her head held high, leaving behind a stunned studio, a humiliated host, and what would undoubtedly become one of the most talked about television moments of the year. The cameras kept rolling as Joy sat there, speechless for perhaps the first time in her career, while the audience remained in absolute silence, having just witnessed the complete dismantling of a bully by one of the classiest women in entertainment. The show went to commercial immediately after, but the damage was done. In less than 15 minutes, Joy Behar had managed to turn what should have been a pleasant promotional interview into a masterclass in how not to treat a guest, while Meryl Streep had shown the world exactly why she's considered royalty in Hollywood, not just for her talent, but for her unshakable dignity in the face of unprovoked hostility.